Welcome back to Chamber Chat. I'm Josh Wooten, your host. My guest today is Tom McMurray. Tom, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Tom is the broker for Keller Williams Real Estate, and in addition to that, he's been a director of the Chamber of Commerce for 4 years. I believe this year you're co-chair of the Special Events Committee.
Yes, I am.
And essentially chairman of the Strawberry Festival, which is one of the things I want to talk about to you today.
Good. Yeah, I'd like to talk about that.
Because the 25th Annual Strawberry Festival is coming up March 3rd and 4th.
Right.
But I also wanted you on in your role as a director and a business leader. Our viewers, the people that are interested in the show, love to hear about the economy and hear what business people have to say about the economy. And you know, you're a prominent business person and realtor in the community with Keller Williams. Tell us, what are you seeing?
Well, I think that business looks like it's starting to pick up, and I think a lot of it is a perception that people believe that things are going to get better. And of course, perception is reality to a lot of people. So a lot of them are tired of waiting. They're going now put their houses on the market. I just finished, had a house that had been on the market for 5 years, and finally I convinced the buyer or the seller that you're going to have to price it to sell, and it did.
The new normal.
It sold in 40 days. So
good,
and it worked out well. And he's happy. He'd like to have more money, but he got what he got.
We all would.
Yeah, and he was happy with it. So, and we're getting a lot more. I seem to think that we're getting a lot more listings now, and a lot more people coming in looking. I think the inventory and the board is down around 1,700 people now, or 1,700 homes. So
1,700 homes
on the market right now.
On the market,
yeah.
and the time that they're staying on the market is starting to go down as well.
Right. The absorption rate is getting better. That seems to be the way everybody's looking at things now. Look at the absorption rate, the amount of houses in a particular market are selling in a particular amount of time. So that's how we try and price the houses now.
And what about bank financing? Are you seeing mortgages? Is there money out there to lend on mortgages? I know the rate is great right now.
Yeah, I think right now the rate's great. I mean, people have to be a little more squeaky clean than they did in the old, at the time when you just smoked a mirror and you got a mortgage. Those days are over with now. You've got to have fairly decent credit and usually 10, 15, 20% down. There are a couple programs. USDA is a no money down type program, which is doing pretty well. A lot of the banks, see, Citrus County qualifies under the USDA for no money down type. And so a lot of people are doing that. VA mortgages are good. VA, I just read, has the lowest default rate of any mortgage in the United States. So, and that's a lot of veterans coming back. A lot of people don't understand that they qualify for a VA mortgage, and they need to, if they've served in the armed forces, they need to check and see. And
that would be their best first option, wouldn't it?
I would think it's the best first option. It's no money down, and most banks want to do them now. Years ago, they didn't want to do them because there was a lot of paperwork to them. But now the paperwork's gotten more streamlined, and they're good mortgages.
I believe my father bought his first home on a
I bought my first one.
VA mortgage, and that had to be in the early 60s or late 50s.
Well, a lot of them, they were, people were buying them after the war in the 40s, late 40s.
Well, some things the government does well, and that's a program that seems to have sustained the test of time.
And it's like the GI Bill. It's back now for a lot of the veterans. So we're going to get a lot more education for our veterans coming back from Afghanistan and Iran.
Well, you're a veteran.
Yeah, 22 years.
High-ranking veteran.
Well, I was a sergeant major, retired.
Sergeant major, that's pretty good.
22 years, yeah. So I'm an Army still serving. It's just kind of the thing. Anybody who's retired usually feels they're still serving. In fact, if you'll notice when we say the Pledge of Allegiance, I don't put my hand over my heart. I salute. I'm allowed to do that as a retiree.
You can without the cover on now because that is now the proper way to do it if you're a veteran.
Yeah, in fact, the Army Echoes magazine I just got, at the bottom it says, still saluting. And that's what all the retirees, a lot of them do.
Now, how did you make your way to Citrus County? We're all most of us from somewhere else.
Well, when I retired, I went to work for high-tech company, Digital Equipment Corporation, and worked for them for about 14 years, selling computers. And we traveled down here. My folks lived in Fort Myers, and we used to drive back and forth. And one year we came up the West Coast instead of going over the East Coast. And I kind of looked around and saw all the trees and the hills, and I said, this kind of looks like where we come from. So we came back down, and 2 months later, and went up to Citrus Hills, and we flew down on their program and bought a house, or actually bought land and came back in a couple of years and built a house.
And you're still in Citrus Hills to this day?
Well, I live in Pine Ridge now, but not that far away, you know.
So you came down here. Your wife is absolutely lovely. Let's give a shout out to her.
Thank you.
You married way over your head, if you don't mind me saying,
I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
And how long have you been married?
We just had our 23rd anniversary Tuesday.
Very good.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely lady.
Thank you.
And if you're watching, I'll tell you that in person too.
Yeah. She likes
we
you.
get along.
She likes you.
Yeah, one of the few people that do in the county.
Well, she's a Democrat like you are.
Well, we can't discuss politics. I'm an independent.
That's right.
I don't take sides.
Me too.
But I know how you vote because we talk about it and we're a lot alike.
That's right.
But from the standpoint of the market coming back, you never know really when the bottom is. It's kind of like buying a stock. But I'm hearing from everybody they think it's there. If you want to buy or you're a first home buyer, do you think it could get any lower? I mean, it's possible, but
it's possible. It's not going to. It just seems to me it can't go much further. And the problem is when we realize it's turned around, you're already on the upswing, and you're behind the curve again. So you really got to be.
You got to know when to pull the trigger.
You got to be thinking about pulling the trigger now.
And there's two things: is the price at the bottom, and how long will interest rates remain?
That's right.
Because you can pay $10,000 or $20,000 too much for a house.
Yeah.
But if you can get a 3.5%, 4%.
That's right. I mean,
versus buying it a little cheaper down the road, but you got a 7% interest rate. I'd rather pay too much on the front end and get that interest rate over 30 years.
Yeah, because your payment's going to be less. Really will be. So.
Well, we're going to stay here with Tom McMurray from Keller Williams and Director of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to talk about the 25th Annual Strawberry Festival coming up next.